Hey folks, what did you achieve last week? What did you achieve this week? Can you list 5 things? Well, I happened to have launched the crowdfund for King Leper, which you can find down below in the description box. Get yourself a hardback or an ebook copy. Link is down below. I'm really excited to bring that epic fantasy story out to you. Yes, I launched that last week. It funded in 24 hours. I also finished a book live on stream. I finished writing another book, another Eternal Dream book, 115,000 word book, a nice chunky book, not just a little tweeny book, but a nice big chunky book. We wrote that on streamed twice. Came out with some videos, came out with some articles, right? I achieved stuff. Now, I'm listing this because I've actually been answering this question. A little bit of background for people who've been paying attention. Elon Musk and company over at the Department of Government Efficiency, the DOGE, sent out an email to a bunch of people in the government just asking, can you list 5 things you did this week? What are the 5 achievements you did this week? And if you don't respond, then we'll take it as a resignation and we'll give you a termination package. This much, 6 months of termination, and otherwise, whatever, right? So went down that, and it got me thinking, I should be able to answer, what did I achieve this week? What did I do this week? And so I started a little document where I was writing down all the stuff that I did every day. And this was really helpful because it's the inverse of a to-do list. For those of you who have maybe tried to-do lists, I'm not a fan of to-do lists. And I know several other people who are really into productivity that they don't like to-do lists either. And I do have a creative productivity manual. It's called Keys to Prolific Creativity. You get it free if you join the Patreon. So you get a copy of that. And there's an audiobook and everything on Amazon, so you can check that out. To-do lists get people bogged down because they inevitably end up focusing on falling short. You can't finish a to-do list. It never ends. So you just make a bunch of lists for things that you need to do, and then you feel bad and anxious all the time because you're not clearing off your to-do list. This is the inverse of that. Rather than making a list of things that you still need to do, you make a list of things that you already did. So instead of a to-do list, it's a have done list. And that's way better because every night before I go to sleep, if I don't want to have any anxiety when my head hits that pillow, I have that list of things that I did that day. What did I achieve today? And I started doing this because it also makes whatever thing that you're doing have a little bit more intentionality to it. You're being a little more intentional with your choices during the day. Like, is this a thing? I'm going to write this down in my have done list. Is this a thing that's the best use of my time? And in a lot of cases, is it justifiable? And in most cases, it is, right? That's why you chose to do it. So for instance, I might have a day that lists, I taught my kids. That's big, right? I need to teach my kids every day, and I fed them, right? I walked the neighbors' dogs because they need their dogs walked. They've had an injury. They have an injury. They can't walk the dogs. I'm going to walk the dogs for them. Okay, great. So I did a service for a neighbor. That's important. I sat down at my amp and I dialed in tones on my delay pedal and on my reverb pedal. I experimented with my guitar pedals and the tones on my amp. That's important because I'm going to use those to record. So that is an investment of time that I need to make at some point, right? I researched guitar pedals. I would write stuff down like that. What does that mean? I went on the internet. I looked at what guitar pedals I want to add to my crazy setup and how much are they and what order of things do I want to buy according to my budget and how much money I'm making, right? I think about those things and I'm being intentional with what I'm doing. I'm not just browsing Reverb because I don't have anything better to do, but I'm thinking about things that I actually might need for my arsenal. I like to call it an arsenal. My arsenal of equipment in order to make the next layer of music, the next phase of music that I'm going to do on the Zool channel, which you will also find down below in the description box. So I started listing everything there. And in some cases, I had to hang out really late with my daughter. I did that tonight. I watched episode 1 with my kids tonight, right? Because they wanted to watch Star Wars, but they didn't want to watch Return of the Jedi. My son's really excited about that, but he really wants to watch that with his mom for whatever reason. Wants a family movie night for that one. So that's great. We watched episode 1, about half of the movie, and then the kids are ready for bed. So that's good, though, because as an artist, it's important to consume art. This is in the Keys to Prolific Creativity. It's important to, I call it consume art, like eat it. You need to take it in and digest it and make it part of you. So going back and watching a movie that I haven't watched in a long time that I know has a lot of technical achievements for the time that it was released. It was really good. And I was able to critically think about the things that I was seeing and the feelings I was feeling about that movie. And so I think it was a good use of my time. And I also got to spend time hanging out with my kids. So even though I hung out with my daughter really late, I put in if I recorded videos. So I just have a list of things that I did each day. Then when it's time to go to sleep, I even put workouts in. Also good. That's good for you, right? So put in the workouts. So I recommend, hey, try this out for a week. If you can't answer Elon Musk's email with 5 things that you did for the week, then try to do 5 things that week, right? And just start as a daily log. I did this and this and this. And you'll find pretty quickly that you get a little bit more intentional with the things that you're doing. And it makes you think about the things that you already did in a critical way where a lot of them make more sense than you think, right? You can think, I wasted time looking at this. Maybe it was a time waste, but maybe it was a use of your time because something came out of it. And you can think about that. That's why I made that choice, right? I chose to sit down and play guitar with my amp on because everybody was awake and I could do that. And I wasn't going to wake anyone up. I have a big amp, and it was a chance to dial in this equipment and really get to know it and start thinking about what I'm going to do with it, right? Start getting those ideas percolating. So in a lot of cases, just sitting down playing guitar, a lot of people are like, oh, you're just wasting your time noodling. Well, I'm not noodling. I'm listening to ideas. I'm figuring out how my equipment works. I'm figuring out the best way to use it. And I'm planning for the future with that. And that may be something that you do too. It's like you went for a walk to clear your head. Okay, that's a good thing for you. Write that down. Okay, I wrote 1,000 words, or I sat down with my document. I planned my story, and if you're going to put that in your notes, you're like, okay, am I planning my story? Okay, I need to write down what I'm planning. I'm going to write down a little bit of some notes for the next thing that I'm going to write, whatever it's going to be. Okay, keeping a practice log can be really helpful. What did you practice today? What measures did you practice? Sit down, practice, and then write down. I practiced these measures to try to get rid of this squeak that I was hearing, right? And that's what it is. This makes you be more intentional with what you're doing and think critically about the things you're doing. And the next day, when you're choosing to do things with your time, you're going to choose to do things maybe a little bit more optimally. And you don't have a big to-do list hanging over your head that you're never going to clear out. People will add everything that they could think of to do on a to-do list so that they're maximally efficient. But what happens is you go to sleep and you're anxious because you didn't finish everything on your to-do list. You always feel behind with a to-do list. Instead of doing a to-do list, do a have-done list. Be able to answer the question, what did you achieve this week, right? Maybe it's 5 things. And dig deep. Think like an employee. You're an employee working for yourself. And if you can't give good answers to yourself, well, try to improve that next week. Give yourself a little performance assessment. Maybe it's the 5 things that you did this week are like, I fixed the sprinklers. Well, that's important. I cooked for my family. That's important, right? Did laundry. That's important. Mowed the lawn. That's important, right? All those things are important. Those chores are important. And if you're not doing those, and when you are doing those, you need to give yourself credit for them. And then if you feel like, well, I really needed to be doing something this instead of that, then revise that for next time. Maybe it's more critical for you to be doing a more important or immediate action rather than playing a video game for 30 minutes. You could have been doing something else. But I actually put playing games in there because of that chapter that I have in Keys to Prolific Creativity, Consuming Art. I think it's important to play video games or to read your books or to watch movies or whatever it's going to be. I consider video games art, and I think it's good to take them in. They are fun. Watching a movie can be fun too, right? There's many different kinds of artistic experiences we can have. So I put those things in. I played a game or read a book or I did something like that. So put all the things that you do in your have done list and then send it to yourself. Write it down. You don't have to literally send it to yourself, but send it to your boss, which is you, if you're a creative person, and see if, you can even role play with this. Write yourself a letter. Or I think it would be more optimal if you spent your time instead of thinking maybe, and I've thought about this, maybe it'd be more optimal if instead of thinking about optimizing my use of new guitar equipment, I had written an extra article for the blog in order to promote the Kickstarter, right? maybe that would be a more optimal use of my time. So next time when I'm thinking about, I really want to figure out a little bit more about how this new delay pedal works, but that maybe needs to wait till April, and instead I should go do this other thing. Right? Anyway, leave me your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear them. Don't forget to back the Kickstarter. It's down below. And you can also find my music channel down there and my Patreon, which you'll get a free copy of Keys to Prolific Creativity. And for the higher tier, you get a rotating book every month. This month it is Needle Ash, which is like the entire Needle Ash trilogy. I'm not sure what I'll do for April. We'll find out. Right? Maybe. And then, of course, if you are a paid subscriber on Substack or on Patreon, you get copies of all the live writes, which means that book that I just finished the other day, you will have access to that entire first draft, that entire book. You can read a whole extra book now of epic fantasy. So, and you can see what a first draft actually looks like for me, because it's not that different from a final draft. But I think this is a book that I'll probably make a lot of tweaks, and I'll do those live too. I'll do the editing live as well. So check it out, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great, great day.